Hey everyone, and welcome back to Unlock, Empower, Transform. I'm your host, Shay Blackmon, and today we're tackling something that keeps leaders up at night. Not in a bad way, but in that I can't stop thinking about the possibilities kind of way. Here's the thing, you cannot transform what you don't measure. Full stop. It's like trying to improve your health without ever stepping on a scale or getting blood work done. You might feel okay, but you have no idea what's actually happening under the surface. And your organizational culture, that's exactly the same way. So if you've ever looked at your company culture and thought, something feels off, but I can't put my finger on it, or maybe you're thinking, everything seems fine, but our turnover keeps climbing, today's episode is literally for you. We're diving deep into culture metrics, the KPIs that actually matter, how to build a measurement system that doesn't feel like another compliance nightmare. And I'm going to walk you through the culture dashboard approach that's changing the game for leaders serious about transformation. Stay tuned, because at the end of this episode, I've got something special for you. Let's get into it. Let's start with the uncomfortable truth. Most organizations are measuring the wrong things. They're tracking metrics that look great on a PowerPoint slide, but don't tell you anything meaningful about what's actually happening in your culture. I've seen organizations, and I mean multiple companies, where leadership was genuinely proud of their 92% employee engagement score. Sounds impressive, right? Except 6 months later, they were hemorrhaging talent. Turnover spiked. Entire departments started leaving, and nobody saw it coming because they were measuring engagement the wrong way. The real question isn't, do people like coming to work? The real question is, are they performing? Are they staying? Are they referring others? Are they actively building the culture you say you want? Here's what 24 years in HR leadership taught me. Metrics are your early warning system. They're your canary in the coal mine. When you're measuring the right KPIs, the ones that actually predict behavior and business outcomes, you get ahead of problems before they become full-blown crises. And that's exactly what I break down in Chapter 6 of High Value Leadership. We dive into the metrics that matter, employee engagement and satisfaction metrics like your employee net promoter score, turnover rates broken down by voluntary versus involuntary, internal promotion rates, and absenteeism patterns. But here's the key. We also look at customer-facing metrics, because culture doesn't stay contained inside your four walls. It radiates outward. Customer satisfaction scores, retention rates, feedback that mentions your culture by name. These are indicators of whether your internal culture is translating into external results. So let me ask you this. Right now, do you actually know which of your employees are at risk of leaving in the next 90 days? Do you know which departments are struggling with psychological safety before morale completely tanks? Do you know which of your managers are creating cultures of trust versus which ones are quietly driving people away? Most leaders I talk to answer no to all three, and it's not because they don't care. It's because nobody taught them how to measure culture beyond the annual engagement survey that sits in a drawer until next year. Okay, so let's talk about building a measurement system that actually works. And I say building because this isn't about buying the fanciest software or hiring an expensive consultant to hand you a 47-page report you'll never read. It's about getting intentional. Here's the framework I use with leaders who are serious about culture transformation. First, identify your North Star. What does high-value culture actually mean for your organization? Not what sounds good in a mission statement. What does it actually look like in practice? Is it innovation? Is it psychological safety? Is it accountability? Is it all of the above? You have to define it before you can measure it. Period. Second, select your core KPIs. In Chapter 12 of High Value Leadership, I walk through implementing leadership scorecards. This is about aligning leadership performance with organizational goals. Your scorecards should balance multiple perspectives: financial measures, customer metrics, internal processes, and learning and growth indicators. Don't try to measure everything. Choose 3 to 5 core metrics that directly connect to your North Star. For most organizations, I recommend starting with employee net promoter score, voluntary turnover rate by department, internal promotion rate, time to productivity for new hires, and one customer-facing metric like Net Promoter Score. Third, establish your baseline. Before you can improve, you need to know where you're starting. Collect your current data, even if it's messy. Messy data beats no data every single time. Fourth, create your feedback loop. This is where most organizations fail. They measure once a year, file the results, and wonder why nothing changes. Your measurement system needs regular pulse checks, quarterly at minimum, monthly if you're in active transformation. And here's the critical part: share the results transparently. The metrics themselves become a cultural statement. When you share openly, you're saying, we value honesty, we value growth, we're willing to look at ourselves in the mirror. There was a manufacturing company in the Midwest that implemented this exact framework. Within 18 months, they reduced voluntary turnover by 23% and increased their internal promotion rate by 40%. Not because they had fancy technology, because they got intentional about what they measured and how they responded to it. Now let me walk you through the culture dashboard approach that I've developed through Blackmon Consulting. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Traditional dashboards give you numbers. They tell you what happened, but they don't tell you what's about to happen, and they definitely don't tell you why. The CBC Culture Dashboard is built on 3 pillars. Pillar 1, predictive indicators. We're not just looking at lagging metrics like last quarter's turnover. We're tracking leading indicators that predict behavior 3 to 6 months out. Things like manager effectiveness scores, psychological safety assessments by team, skip-level feedback patterns, and collaboration metrics across departments. Pillar 2, values alignment tracking. Every organization has values plastered on the wall somewhere, but are people actually living them? We measure values alignment through behavioral indicators, not self-reported surveys, but actual behavior patterns, recognition frequency, cross-functional collaboration, how people respond when things go wrong. Pillar 3, integration with business outcomes. Culture metrics that don't connect to business results are just noise. Your dashboard should show direct correlations. When team psychological safety increases, what happens to productivity? When values alignment improves, what happens to customer satisfaction? These connections are what turn culture from a nice to have into a strategic advantage. Because here's the truth. You can have the best culture initiative in the world, but if you can't show me how it connects to revenue, retention, and results, leadership won't sustain it. Full stop. Okay, this is the part where I put you to work. I want you to do something with me right now, or pause this and come back when you have 10 minutes, because knowing about metrics is different from actually using them. I call this the 10-minute culture audit. It's designed to give you immediate insight into where your culture stands today, not where you hope it is, but where it actually is. Grab a piece of paper or open a notes app. You're going to answer 5 questions. Question 1. In the last 90 days, how many employees left your team or organization voluntarily? Write that number down. Question 2. Of those who left, how many would you have been willing to fight to keep? Be honest. That ratio, the ones worth fighting for versus total departures, tells you about your retention quality, not just your retention rate. Question 3. On a scale of 1 to 10, how safe do your employees feel challenging ideas in meetings? Not publicly praising leadership, actually pushing back on decisions they disagree with. If you don't know, that's your answer. It's probably a 4. Question 4. How many internal promotions happened in the last year compared to external hires for leadership roles? A healthy culture grows its own leaders. If you're constantly hiring externally for leadership, that's a red flag. Question 5. When was the last time an employee referred someone to work at your organization? If you can't remember, your employer brand has a culture problem. Now look at those answers. What story are they telling you? Where are the gaps between what you want your culture to be and what these numbers reveal? This isn't meant to discourage you. It's meant to clarify, because transformation starts with truth, and the truth is in the data. Here's what I want you to understand. Measuring culture isn't about creating more reports or adding more tasks to your already overflowing plate. It's about protecting what matters most, your people and your results. In my book, High Value Leadership, Transforming Organizations Through Purposeful Culture, I talk extensively about this connection between measurement and transformation. You can't create a high-value culture by accident. It takes intentionality. It takes discipline. And yes, it takes measurement. And if you're ready to go deeper, to really build the skills and systems that create lasting cultural transformation, that's exactly what we cover in the High Value Leadership Intensive. This is for leaders who are done guessing and ready to transform with precision. More details on that are coming soon. But for now, start where you are. Use the audit you just completed. Look at your numbers and ask yourself, what one metric am I going to commit to improving in the next 90 days? Because transformation doesn't happen in sweeping changes. It happens in focused, measured, consistent action. Now, I mentioned earlier that I had something special for you, and I always deliver. If today's episode resonated with you, if you're realizing that you need better systems, better metrics, better tools for navigating the challenges of leadership, I want you to grab my free SHIELD Resilience Strategy Guide. This guide walks you through the SHIELD framework: self-awareness, healthy coping, internal resources, external support, learning orientation, and daily practices. It's designed to help you build the kind of resilience that sustains you through the hard work of culture transformation. Because let's be real, this work is hard. Measuring culture means facing uncomfortable truths. It means having difficult conversations. It means holding yourself accountable before you hold anyone else accountable. The SHIELD Guide gives you practical tools, scripts for challenging workplace situations, daily practices that build your resilience through small, consistent actions, and recovery protocols for when leadership gets overwhelming. The link is in the description below. Go grab it. It's free, and it's designed to support you on this journey. And while you're at it, drop a comment and tell me, what's the one culture metric you're going to start tracking after this episode? I read every single comment, and I want to hear from you. Quick note about our schedule. We won't have a Thursday episode this week because of the New Year's holiday. Take that time to rest, reflect, and set your intentions for 2026. But next week, Tuesday, we're back and we're going bold. We're talking about the horror of homogeneous hiring, why diversity is your superpower. Because the culture you measure depends on the people you hire, and we're going to unpack why diverse teams don't just feel good, they perform better. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for caring about culture, and thanks for being the kind of leader who invests in transformation, not just for your organization, but for yourself. Happy New Year, everyone. I'll catch you next Tuesday on Unlock, Empower, Transform.